Hello, and welcome back to this tutorial series on Unreal Engine Audio. If you haven't already watched the other videos on animations before this tutorial, I would highly recommend that you do so. This tutorial will be built on what we learned in the previous tutorials. I'm going to be talking about how to attach a sound to a part of your animation skeleton in order to follow its motion. So the first thing we're going to want to do is head over to the bar guest area, which is right over here. Basically what happens is if you press play, you hear the bar guest growling, and then as you walk close, it barks at you. So what we want to happen is have that bark follow the head of the bar guest. An easy way to access animations is if you find the creature or something that you want to work with, you can go over here and find its skeletal mesh asset. Then we just browse to that asset, double click on it, and now it opens up the editor. We've got our skeletal mesh, our skeleton, our blueprint, and finally our animation tab. Let's just click on that. We are now within the animation area. As you can see, we have our bar guest bite notifier right here. So if we click on that, it populates the details panel with our sound, our volume multiplier, pitch multiplier, and then something that wasn't talked about in the other tutorials is this follow option. What this means is that if we check that, it allows us to attach our sound to one of the bones in our skeletal mesh. Where we find these is within the skeleton area. What you can see here are all of the bones present within this animation. What we're going to want to choose is the head, because that's right around where we want the sound to be coming from. In order to grab this and attach it to our animation, we need to right-click on the bone that we want and click Copy Selected Bone Names. If we do that and go back to the animation, we can paste that name in the attached name and click on the one that we want. What this means is that now anytime this plays, it will actually follow the head of the bar guest. This can be really useful for moving animations in case you don't want something to kind of lag behind the animation that's moving. Let's see this in action in the actual level. So if we go back here, I'm going to press play. Then I'm going to use the command audio 3D visualize. What this allows us to do is see all of the different sounds that are playing. As you can see, right now, the sound is playing right around the head of the bar guest. Then when we walk forward, did you see that sound move? It means that the sound is attached to the head and follows exactly where it goes. Before we go, I want to cover one last setting in the animation tab. If we click on the sound, we can go down to the trigger settings down here. At the very top, we see this variable notify trigger chance. This is a percentage from 1 to 0 that determines the chance that the sound will play when triggered. This can be helpful for sounds that may not happen all the time, like if a dog is running, they likely wouldn't bark all the time, or if you have some screech for a bird, it would be useful to not have this happen every single time, otherwise it would get incredibly repetitive. So if I went and set this to, say, 0.25, this would only play around every 4 times that it cycles through. However, this is just a chance, so it is random every time, but the more you use it, the closer it'll get to this percentage. That concludes our work on animations. I would recommend going into the engine and trying out these techniques on your own level. Mess around with the animations, skeletons, and blueprints in order to start making more interesting sound interactions. And as always, I will see you in the next tutorial.